Hello and welcome to Word in the Burg, a monthly solution-focused talk show hosted by myself, Mayor Eric Pappenfuss, and discussing some of the most important issues facing Harrisburg and the Capital Region. Since our last show, we've had some terrific suggestions for topics, and we'll be getting to those over the months ahead. If you have a topic for a future show, please feel free to email us at wordintheburg@cityofhbg.com. Today's topic is public safety. What can we do to make this city safer and the region safer? What are some of the changes we're seeing in Harrisburg? Who are members of our new leadership team? What is all this talk about community policing? These are questions we're going to discuss today, and I'm thrilled that we're joined by three tremendous leaders of this change effort in Harrisburg. First, we have Harrisburg Police Chief Thomas Carter. We are also joined by Susquehanna Township Public Safety Director Robert Martin and Harrisburg's Community Policing Coordinator David Botero. Welcome to all three of you. So let's begin the discussion, Chief. I believe that there's a general perception in the city of Harrisburg that we're on the right track, that things are safer. There's a palpable sense of optimism that I'm feeling, both from residents of the city and visitors to the city. I don't want to make too much about statistics, but we have seen things become safer over the past 3 months. Can you talk a little bit about the specifics?
Yes, I can. First of all, I want to say, that thank you for having us here, and that community policing is a philosophy, is a change of management's style and operational strategies. It emphasizes establishments of police community partnerships and problem-solving approach that responds to the city of the community's needs. We took a more synergetic approach, that encompassed accessibility to the police, and that in turn was accepted by the public. What we did is that we had a session that we had to convince the officers to buy into our new way of policing. After we had the buy-in by the officers, they were able to go out and do 2,200 foot patrols in targeted areas. We concentrated on neighborhood policing more. We concentrated on collaborating with other agencies such as Susquehanna Township, Swatter Township, Deary Township, Lower Paxton Township. We sat down at the table and collaborated with all these here police chiefs, because what happens in Harrisburg tends to filter to the outsides of our cities. So, the concern was, that the county needed to be stronger. So the police chiefs got together, no jealousy. We all sat down at the table as partners, and we collaborated, to make the city stronger. We have gotten tremendous support from Chief Martin, from Chief Umberger, and from my coordinator, David Botero. The community bought in. Right now, we have 90 fewer violent crimes than we had last year. As far as our homicides, they're down. The assaults are down, and the burglaries are down. And that's due, that is due to the collaboration that the police has with the public. The public bought into it, they accepted it. They're on the phone making more telephone calls now. They're talking to the police more. The police are more friendlier. Before, when the public would see the police, it'd be because we got a call into a neighborhood, and the police would just go in there, arrest people, do what they had to do, and leave. The children never got an opportunity to talk to the police or to see a softer side. Now we have the police out there engaging the youth. We're going into the school, talking to the youth, trying to find out, what it is that they need most, what it is that they need. Trying to find out, how they would like to see police officers, and their education needs and what have you. We address the problems of trash, codes, blight, and different things like that. So I think that, due to the direction that the administration wants to go and us collaborating with outside agencies and the help that we're getting, I think that all has caused the drop in our crime stats here.
Yeah, and Chief, with over 2,000 foot patrols. I mean, that's going to make a difference, a strong impact. I can say that I've been approached by business owners, community members that have said, this is wonderful. The police are stopping into my place of business on a regular basis and just sort of checking to make sure things are well. Or they're stopping by my porch and they're saying hello. Talk a little bit about the approach to these foot patrols. What do we tell the officers? What are we hoping to achieve?
I have to give the credit, to the leadership team that we have right now. We promoted new supervisors. They grasped a hold of the vision that the command staff, myself, my captains have for the city. They relayed that down to the foot patrol. And again, I have to really salute and take my hats off to our officers. As you know, we're under Act 47. As you know, that community policing, you need the right size force to make it an effective approach. But however, the officers, they just bought into it. And they're out there walking around. Every neighborhood is different. Every neighborhood has different needs. Like the downtown neighborhood is different from the uptown neighborhood, up in like District 3. We had people going there and do problem-solving events, looking at hot spots, seeing, what District 3 needed opposed to District 2 where most of our businesses are. So we're looking at real data and stats, and we're pulling together everything, resources that we have. My conversations with Chief Martin and Umberger, they shed a bigger light on things because Chief Martin has been doing this here for years. I've also been doing it for years, but I wasn't at this level here. That was my approach because I feel the only way to be effective is to know the people that you're policing, to understand them and them to understand you. So that's been taking place. The officers have grasped it, and it's working wonders for us. That's why our stats are down as far as our violent crime stats are down. We get more phone calls. We get calls from citizens who wouldn't necessarily call us. They're giving us license plates number, clothing descriptions. We have solved so many crimes right now due to the people buying into this new. It's not a new policy, but we're just going at it in a more effective way. So it's really been helpful. It's really been good.
And it's noticeable, and I think it's paying dividends already. And we've got a long way to go for sure, but I think it is significant that on average we've reduced the number of violent crimes in the first quarter by 1 a day. That is a significant change. One of the things you've talked about is cooperation, and we're also joined by Director Robert Martin from Susquehanna Township. We're seeing cooperation both between the police and the community, within the Harrisburg Police Department itself, a sort of new spirit of cooperation and a sort of positive sense of mission. But we're also seeing it, I think, on a regional basis. And a good deal of that is, I think, due to Director Martin's influence and his efforts. One of the first things we announced early on was that he would be consulting with the City of Harrisburg on a regular basis, helping us implement these new community policing strategies. So, Director Martin, welcome.
Thank you.
Could you talk a little bit about the importance of this regional cooperation and specifically what you've been doing to help foster that?
Absolutely, and Mayor, thank you. I think we're at a historic moment in terms of collective efforts from the City of Harrisburg and all of Dauphin County when it relates to public safety. And I want to commend you and your administration and Chief Carter and District Attorney Marsico for leading those efforts. Often in the past, in the history, we in the county thought the city, in terms of public safety, operated in a bit of a silo, and those walls have been broken down. And I've been meeting regularly with Chief Carter's command staff, and we all understand the fact that we're in this together. And even when I talk to citizens in Susquehanna Township, where I serve, everyone wants the city to thrive. So that's on all of our minds. And in terms of collective efforts from the command perspective of just myself and Chief Carter and his command staff and Chief Umberger meeting, it's really historic. And we're understanding that we're all in this together, and we're sharing from my perspective or Chief Umberger's perspective, what has gone right for us, what's worked and what hasn't worked, and brought those things to Chief Carter. And God bless him, he's put some things out there and made some changes. And I think, from a practical perspective, when the city moved to Dauphin County Emergency Management Agency's dispatch center, that's now connected our officers throughout the county. I can tell you when my officers are on patrol 24 hours a day, they have the city channels punched in and they're monitoring everything because it's just right next door. It's bordering the areas that they're patrolling. And so the communication has increased appreciably. And I would add to that the addition from the county of the Judicial Center and taking all of our people there for booking has brought us all together. So we're more together now than we've ever been, and that's, I really think, is what the citizens want from us. And I think we can only build that relationship going forward. And with the summer coming up, we're here for the city in everything that we can do, and cooperative efforts which have been successful in the past. And I think that it just brings an efficiency to law enforcement, not only in the city, but throughout the county for the citizens, which is the most important piece.
Yes, and you mentioned DA Ed Marsico, who's really been a key part of this, because it's one thing to say we want to get tough on illegal guns, and it's another to say let's come up with a new countywide policy for sentencing, which is exactly what we did. And we talked about our concerns about blight in the city of Harrisburg, and the county responded by authorizing a housing court. I mean, that is unprecedented cooperation. But let's look at the issue of illegal guns and the $100,000 bail. Can you talk a little bit about the philosophy behind that?
Absolutely. When areas across the nation are dealing with these same issues of gun violence. And when you talk about gun violence, certainly just here in the city of Harrisburg, you're not talking about thousands and thousands of people that are perpetrating gun violence. There's a narrow band of people, and through this $100,000 bail, essentially you're attacking the center of gravity, which is those persons who are carrying guns illegally or using guns illegally, and placing them in prison until, with a high bail, and making a point that, okay, we know that these few folks are the center of gravity of this gun violence, and those are who we're going to target. And I think it's the right thing, and by targeting them, you're making a lot of people safe in the city as we go forward.
And another way that we're sort of targeting areas or targeting regions and trying to get at the root of crime are through these saturation patrols. And I know that we've discussed that a lot. Can you talk a little bit about what a saturation patrol is and how it's being deployed?
Absolutely. Over the past 24 months, the district attorney has funded for outside agencies in the county to come in and work in concert with the city officers in patrolling. Whether it was times when there was an increase in criminal activity or special occasions. And I think that's done a couple things. First of all, there's nothing stronger from public safety than the presence of a police officer. And I think that's why you're seeing the foot patrols work so wonderfully, because that officer out of the car has shown a sense of confidence to the citizens that, hey, we're here for you. And I think for the citizens of Harrisburg, when they see a Susquehanna or Lower Paxton or Swadara Township police car driving down their street, I think it gives them a sense of, we appreciate the county. That the county has sent a message, and all the municipalities, we're in this together. And we're on the side of right, that we don't want people getting harmed. And that's what the saturation patrols are there to perform. And District Attorney Marsico is able to fund that through his Violent Crimes Fund. And it's the right thing to do, because there's probably not enough police officers in many areas in central Pennsylvania, and certainly the city's rebuilding. So until that happens, we're all here together, and there's a funding source for it. And I think that it is demonstrated that when those saturation patrols are out, that violent crime has gone down. And in addition to that, it's connected county officers to city officers, and it's connected county officers in talking to city residents. And that's awesome. That's priceless. So it's been a very positive initiative.
That's really, really wonderful. We're also joined today by Mr. David Botero, our community policing officer. And really at the core of all of this is how we can repair the relationship between the police and the community in such a way that we are working very well together. And David, I know some of your initiatives right off of the bat have been about empowering and helping coordinate all of the local neighborhood watch organizations. Tell us about that.
Thank you, Mayor, again for having us. And I would like to start by saying thank you to the families, the residents, the neighbors, the students, the parents that have continued to not only engage with us, but provide us intelligence and information that we would not otherwise have. And that's made our job and our function just a little bit more seamless. This position, it requires more of a communications liaison, and we embrace the aspects of public safety, and what we are able to do is facilitate conversations, goals, strategies, and planning among not only our neighbors, but the communication, the fire department, police department, codes, working closely with Dauphin County and its categorical agencies, working with our public works, and getting the information and setting objectives. So we work very closely, very dearly with our neighbors to make sure that everybody's on the same page. We also accept and welcome big, great ideas to work with them, because as the chief said, every neighborhood has different needs, different assessments, different goals, where we're working closely regarding a parking issue, a blight issue, reporting suspicious activities. So we work with them with respects to whatever their insight is, and then we put together the strategy on an operations side to make sure that we work closely with them and help them out.
Tell us a little bit about the various neighborhoods of Harrisburg and their watches, and how the neighborhoods may differ, and basically your approach to community policing.
We have since identified 11 neighborhood watch programs, and again, they have a lot of commonalities, but at the same time, they have different needs. And it's fun to watch and to engage with them, to not only listen and respond to their needs, but to understand the culture and to understand where they're coming from. So Uptown is much different, and Uptown is broken up into so many different silos, and working with them is much different than working closely with the neighborhoods and the neighbors in Midtown, downtown, and so on. So what we're able to do is work closely with them with respects to bringing in officers so that they get familiar with our officers. We take back the information that they share with us, whether it's streetlights or potholes, breaking up crime with respects to drug dealing, prostitution, and we take it back to our officers and give them the information, because our officers are busy policing. And so our job here is to get busy with communicating. We share that information, and it just continues, and we continue to duplicate those ideas across different neighborhoods.
Yes, and I think one of your initiatives, and Chief, maybe you could talk a little bit about that, is specifically outreach towards the youth of the city of Harrisburg.
Yes.
And I know we're coming up on the summer, and I guess my question is, what are we planning to do to make sure that between the police and the youth of Harrisburg, we have a positive mentoring relationship?
Well, first of all, Dave and myself, we're going into the different city schools, the Catholic schools, Harrisburg High School, Roland schools, and we're having real conversation with the youth. You know, we're sitting down with them, we're eating lunch with them to let them see a softer side of police work, of police officers, let them understand, you know, hey, you know that we are human, that we have your best interest at heart. A lot of kids, they're buying into the program, they're sitting down, they're having conversations with us, they're telling us about, you know, neighborhood problems, they're telling us about their fears, you know, what they want out of the summer times. I let them know, you know, that, you know, kids should be kids should have fun, the summer should be made for them, you know, but we have a lot of different groups in the city, you know, where income earning, groups, where, some kids can go on vacations, other kids can't. So what we're trying to do for the people who don't have the money to take their kids on vacation is that we're trying to get the pools situated and ready. We've been in collaboration with Carl Singleton and his group of people with the Y, the Boys and the Girls Club, and different agencies like that to make sure that there are activities for the kids to do, educational activities, Hershey Park activities, Knoebels Grove, and different things like that. We want this to be a nice, safer summer than it has been for most of our youth. We want them to be able to go outside of their house and play in their neighborhoods. Neighborhood policing, again, that's where community policing leads to, is neighborhood policing. And when we're able to, we want to put officers in each neighborhood that the citizens there, they know the officers, that we want to establish a 411 system like Lancaster has, that they can call in for that officer, that the neighbors know the officers' names who patrol their neighborhoods, and the kids know it. Nothing makes me more happier personally is for a young child to walk up to me and say, "Hey, Officer Carter, how you doing? Can I talk to you?" Yesterday up at Roland School, we had so many kids approach Dave and myself in this whole real conversation with us. It was just so reassuring that, hey, we have some awesome kids here. And I think, that the future is all about the youth. So therefore, we're planning on doing a lot for the youth and helping them out any way, that we can. And, their concerns are gun violence, the drug problems. We are addressing those issues. There's a lot of things that are going on there, not only between the collaboration between Susquehanna, SWAT and other police agencies, but we got state and federal agencies in the city, that are doing real police work. We have the Dauphin County Sheriff's Office, the DA's office, and so there's a lot going on here to ensure the safety of all of our citizens, that we have a nice, peaceful, and quiet summer.
I think that's really important. And David, I know you've had some frank conversations with the youth of our city,
yes.
haven't you?
Yes.
There's been some very innovative conversations and interactions with the youth. Can you talk about some of the programs?
Absolutely. The name of the game continues to be education and prevention, and peripherally, it's collaboration. Little do these students know and the youth know that they are providing very essential information to us. And we help soften the blow and build these relationships with our partnerships with our organizational pillars throughout the community, the YWCA and the multiple task force that they're a part of, that we continue to be partnered with, Boys and Girls Club, the Harrisburg PAL, the Tri-County Community Action. And when we partner with them and we engage with the families that they already work with, we continue to share the message of not only peace, but the message of love. And we have these meaningful conversations with the students, with their families. We continue to meet with the administrators, and as the chief mentioned, meeting with them where they're at their homes, at school, and at their youth programs. And really what we want to continue doing is having that strong message that the Harrisburg Police Department, Harrisburg Fire Department, our Public Safety Bureau is cordial, is approachable, is energetic, and we want to have positive engagement with our neighbors and with our youth. We have a youth mentoring program called Hope and Handball, where it's not even just about handball, but it's about the socialization and building strong positive networking among our peers. Working closely with outside resources, we've had a notable international expert on nonviolent communication and conflict coaching, and he's a professor for urban peacemaking. And he came in and consulted with us and shared his vision with students at Abraxas School and with community leaders as well. And he's coming back for a follow-up and a recap. So working with community partners, both internally and externally, has been a huge facilitator for us to continue to work closely with not only the students, but with the family values and the families in different neighborhoods. Thank you.
And Director Martin, I know we've talked a bit about the regional cooperation that we're seeing, but you're interacting with Harrisburg police officers on a regular, daily basis. And do you sense a change in them? Do you see a sort of new, more optimistic spirit about the future of Harrisburg and the region?
I do. And thank you for asking that question, because I wanted to address that. It's been an honor for me to work with the officers of your department, the men and women. They do a terrific job, and you know, what I do see in them is not only is there a positive outlook for the future, but they're very, very proud to be Harrisburg City police officers. They're very, very proud to serve the citizens of Harrisburg. They walk with that pride. And it's very important for the citizens to know that they have great men and women serving them as police officers that are proud to do that. They could go other places, but they choose to be here. And I think that's a testament to the city, your new leadership, the leadership of Chief Carter, and the positive outlook for the future.
And Chief Carter, just briefly, because we're wrapping up, if there was a message that you wanted to communicate to the public right now about what's in store in terms of public safety, what would be that sort of singular message?
Mayor, that message would be, that, thank you for, letting me serve you as your chief. There will be highs and there will be lows, as we move forward. But however, Harrisburg Police will always be there for you. We'll always be there answering calls. We'll be there, making your neighborhoods better, giving our all to ensure that the city of Harrisburg keeps moving forward and not backwards. As Chief Martin says, we have great men and women officers here. They have great pride. We all have great pride. We're here because we love the city. This is my home. This is where I'll probably die. So community service is what we like doing, and so we're here to serve you.
Well, I'd like to thank all of my guests today, and most importantly, I'd like to thank you, the viewer at home, for taking the time to think about these important issues facing our city, continuing to engage. If you have topics for future shows, remember you can email us at wordintheburg@cityofhbg.com. We'll take your suggestions seriously, and we hope on a monthly basis to bring you a show that is substantive and meaningful and helps inform you about the important changes taking place here in Harrisburg and the region. So thanks for watching.